Für uns ist nur ein Tag vergangen seit der letzten Aufnahme. Wir machen direkt weiter. Deswegen solltet auch ihr eigentlich keine Wartezeit haben zwischen der letzten Folge und dieser Folge. Deswegen war der große Cut, der große Cliffhanger gar nicht so schlimm, glaube ich.
Eine Folge Cliffhanger und ich habe auch in die vorherigen Episoden ein paar Cliffhanger eingebaut.
Was?
Deswegen.
Das mag ich doch gar nicht, wenn wir Cliffhanger bei TimeToDrei machen. Das ist ja...
Und in der letzten Folge habe ich ein bisschen was von dem Rätselraum weggeschnitten.
Zensur?
Weil, Zensur, genau. Weil das ein bisschen viel so einfach nur Beschäftigungstherapie war, was man da machen musste.
Presse wieder. Gelöscht, was nicht in das System passt. Linke Zecke, so. 7. Like Snake said, Ace is hungry.
7 hastily drew a shaking hand across his mouth and began to speak, und dann hat er das gesagt.
From the right, the other three are Musashidoro, Nijisaki and Kubota. Gestern habe ich echt gut Musashidoro was the man with the cash. Nijisaki was Hongo's right-hand man, and Kubota developed the actual technical details of the experiments.
Realization began to dawn on Junpei along with a pressing question.
How do you know all this? Come on, man, I told you, I finally got my memory back. No, that's not what I mean. I'm trying to ask you why you knew all this stuff in the first place before you forgot it.
7 rubbed the scar on his chin.
You really want to know? Of course. Me too.
Snake was the only one who didn't voice any sort of agreement. It looked to Junpei as if he was simply waiting to see where 7's sudden recovery might take them.
This is gonna take a while. Hell, it'll probably take me a good 3 days to tell you everything. Well, we don't have 3 days. Just give us the short version, alright? Short version, huh?
The big man pulled off his hat and scratched his head. He made a face and put his hat back on.
Alright, fine. I'll give it a shot. No promises, though.
Junpei and Clover nodded earnestly. 7 was a lone wolf detective who valued his own code over the rules, doing what was right over doing what you were told. That was why, on that fateful day, he'd gone with his gut and gone to the wharf at night on a slim lead. It was 9 years ago. The wharf had been dark and cold and foreboding.
Wharf ist also ein Ladedock, ne? Am Hafen, oder?
Werft. At the time, he'd been investigating a spate of kidnappings, all of them children. They'd all had one thing in common, a history of visits to one particular hospital. The hospital had been under the management of Cradle Pharmaceutical, and 7's investigation had turned up evidence that Cradle had been involved in the kidnappings. After a little persuasion, he'd managed to finally get a real lead from someone inside Cradle Pharmaceutical. They had told him that night a ship was set to take the children from where they were being held to a large passenger liner docked offshore. 7 had, of course, gone to the wharf. Hidden in the shadows, he'd searched the harbor until at last he found the ship he was looking for. Sieht so toll aus. There were a number of human shapes moving near the ship. There were men in black suits. Many of them were carrying large bags. Bags. There was something about the way they moved as they were carried. There could be no mistake. There were human beings in those bags. He had moved before he even realized he was going to. Out of the shadows he came, his gun already in his hand. He heard the words, "Don't move," but they weren't his. He felt metal touch the back of his head. "Drop your gun," came the cold voice from behind him. "I could kill you right now. It would mean nothing at all. I need only tie an anchor to your feet, and I doubt anyone will see you for perhaps a week or so. Is that what you'd like? The fish here would be thankful for the meal." With the words, he felt the cold metal thing behind him press against his skull. Slowly, 7 crouched down and laid his gun on the ground. Then suddenly, he felt a sharp pain in his neck. A needle. Was it some sort of drug? As he was thinking about that, 7 felt his face hit the cold concrete beneath him. He could feel the chill of it seeping into him. Ugh, damn it. Shit, my head hurts. 7 woke to find himself lying on a hard floor.
So, nicht die Stimme von Seven.
He twisted his neck to peer around the room. Where am I? There was a small, shabby bed and a dirty sink. A toilet with no stall or privacy of any sort. As a cop, it was a place Seven had seen all too often. I'm in a cell, huh? Opposite the toilet was a door set into the wall. Seven struggled to his feet and hobbled toward it. He gave the door a good shove, then another, then tried pulling it. It didn't open. Well, that was about what he'd expected. It wasn't likely that someone would put him in a cell only to leave it unlocked. He threw himself against the door a few times, but to no avail. I knew it. Seven grumbled to himself. As he moved back toward the bed, he sat down. He sat there for a very long time. Just how long, he wasn't sure. At last he began to nod off, and had nearly fallen asleep when he was roused by a distant voice. It's 9. The voice was far away, very far away. Seven couldn't understand what it was saying. Nonetheless, it was a voice, and a high one, most likely a child. His eyes shut open. Hurry! Oh, they're kidding. As he listened, he could pick out several different distinct voices. There were at least 5 or 6, possibly more. Where were the voices coming from? He looked around the room frantically. Perhaps the door? No, that wasn't it. What going now? Was it coming from the left? Was it coming from under the bed? He grabbed the bed and flipped it up with ease. There it was. There was a hole for ventilation in the wall where the bed had been, covered with a metal grate. Seven lay down on his stomach and peered through the grate. He couldn't see anything, it was too dark. Now that he had found it, however, there could be no doubt. This was the source of the voices. For a moment he was confused. Why were there children nearby? Then he remembered what the man from Cradle Pharmaceutical had told him. How a ship would take the kidnapped children from the wharf to a waiting passenger liner out in the ocean. Was Seven on that passenger liner? It didn't matter. What mattered was that he find a way to the children. Seven looked at the metal grate. Could he fit through that hole? He stuck his finger through the grate and grabbed hold of it.
Noch ein H am Ende.
Pen.
Dann flog er weg.
Yeah, how'd you like that, you son of a bitch? Der Blick. The dark square sat open before him. Seven wiped the sweat from his forehead and crawled inside.
Funktionieren Ellbogen in so einem rechten Winkel?
Klar.
Ja, doch, es geht schon.
The first section of the duct was small. Seven could do little more than wiggle along on his belly. After a time, however, it got a little larger, and even someone as large as Seven was able to crawl along on his hands and knees.
Ich glaube, damit du einen Lüftungsschacht findest, wo Seven rumcrawlt.
Das ist schon ein großer
Das
Lüftungsschacht.
ist sehr realistisch. In einem Schiff vor allen Dingen noch.
Ja, Videospiele, da sind die immer riesig.
Das stimmt.
He felt like he'd grown from an inchworm to an insect. Not much of an improvement, but it was better than nothing. He'd begun to wonder where the duct would take him when... There was a thunderous sound, like a massive metal door slamming shut. Then he heard a voice. Warning, warning. Emergency incineration command has been acknowledged. Automatic incineration will take place in 18 minutes. Please evacuate the incinerator immediately. Repeat, emergency incineration command has been acknowledged. The voice wasn't harsh, but something about the calm with which it spoke made it even more terrifying. Seven wasn't sure what it meant, but incinerator certainly didn't sound good. Then, almost as if to confirm his suspicions, he heard a chorus of young voices. No! Jetzt hätte es mitmachen müssen. Help me!
Many of the voices.
Many of the voices were simply screaming in terror,
Voices.
mixing with one another to create a single horrifying howl. Damn it! What the hell is going on here? Seven began to crawl along the duct as fast as his arms and legs would carry him. The noise he made was tremendous, but he was long past caring. A few moments later, a metal door appeared on the left side of the duct. Seven could hear the screams of the children from the other side of it. This was it. He grabbed hold of the handle and threw the door open. The old metal gave way easily before his onslaught. What the hell is this place? The room he was looking out into had a dome for a ceiling and 9 equally sized walls. As the top of the dome was an upside-down funnel. It looked almost like a chimney. Then he looked down. There they were. The children he'd been looking for. They stared up at Seven, their cries silenced for the moment by surprise and fear. Whether they were scared of the room or him, Seven couldn't tell. It was certainly possible that they were frightened of both. Not that I could blame him running into a mug like this when they are already scared shitless. He permitted himself a short snort of a laugh, then turned to the children again.
I thought of funny.
Yeah. Don't worry, kids. I'm not your enemy. I'm one of the good guys. Not a single one of them moved. Except for one. He was a boy, slightly older than the others, in a private school uniform. Who the hell are you? As he spoke, he took a tentative step forward and gave Seven a suspicious look. I'm a detective. I'm here to rescue you. The moment the words were out of his mouth, he could see the children relax. How are you gonna help us? The boy in the uniform asked. Where's the exit? Seven responded. There isn't one. The door we came in through won't open, and the door over there. He cut himself off, considered something, and then continued. Anyway, there's no point. We can't all get out of here. If we don't get out of here, we're gonna be burned to death. Burned to death? Can't you hear it? That voice said the incinerator's gonna start up soon. The voice spoke again. Automatic incineration will take place in 15 minutes. 15 minutes. They only had 15 minutes. Seven looked back down at the children. It was a good 20 or 30 feet to the floor. There was no way he could pull the children up. That was when he had an idea. Wait right there, I'm gonna be back. What? Where is he going? Are you just going to leave us here? Seven did his best to smile. What he felt was a reassuring smile. Don't worry, alright? I'll be back, I promise. So just stay calm and wait right there, oh, got it? He didn't wait to hear them respond. There wasn't time. He ran as fast as a man could run on his hands and knees. Before long, he was back in his cell. He was back where he had started, but he had a plan. There was something there that he needed. As soon as he was finished, he dove back into the duct and took off toward the incinerator. Sorry to keep you waiting, guys. Leaning out of the door in the duct, Seven lowered the rope he'd brought to the floor of the incinerator. Back in the cell, he'd torn the bed sheets into strips and tied them together to make a rope. Like Seven himself, it wasn't very attractive, but it got the job done.
Unnötig und gemein.
Alright, just tie it around yourself, okay? I'll pull you up one at a time. Right.
Das war ein Bettlaken von Hand zu zerreißen. Das ist eine ziemlich starke Leistung.
Huh? Wait a sec. That was when he noticed. There were more of you before. Where did the rest of you go? The boy in the uniform answered. I let them go on ahead. We opened the number 9 door and they left. What? You telling me you opened that door? That's what I said. Then what the hell are you doing here? We couldn't go with them. Why not? Look, the only people who can go through the numbered door. Automatic incineration will take place in 5 minutes. The voice reverberated against the walls of the room. Look, that can wait, alright? Just get us out of here. Right. Seven grabbed a hold of the rope. First up was a girl with a ponytail. Next was the girl with a red necktie, followed by a boy in a jacket who said he'd climb up on his own. The last up was the boy in the uniform. Like the boy in the jacket, he climbed up the rope himself. He looked scrawny from above, but his looks belied impressive strength. He scaled the rope quickly, but as he was almost to Seven, they heard the sound of someone knocking. All eyes turned to the door. Cut into it was a thick, square window. On the other side, they could see a furious face. God damn it, what's going on there? Why is the room empty? Where the hell are those fucking kids? The door opened, and a man stepped in, looking half mad with fury. Seven recognized his face. He'd seen him many times in photos during his investigation. The man's name was Gentaro Hongu, the CEO of Cradle Pharmaceutical. Hongu saw the boy hanging from the rope.
Ja? Na? Was macht er gerade?
He roared like an animal and lunged for the rope. Hurry! I know! The boy in the uniform resumed his scramble up the rope. You son of a bitch! Get back here, you little shit! He was 15 feet away. 10. The moment he came within arm's reach, 7 grabbed the boy in the uniform. With a jerk, he tossed him into the duct behind him. Grrrr! No! Hongu had lost any semblance of control. His face no longer looked human. It was twisted into something terrifying, the visage of a devil or a ferocious monster. Seven quickly reeled in his rope, leaving a furious Hongu on the floor in the room, and crawled back into the duct. You fucking bastard! You won't get away with this! How dare you compromise this experiment! What experiment? Seven wondered.
Entschuldigung?
What the fuck are you talking about? Automatic incineration will take place in 1 minute. Hey old man, what the hell are you doing? Hurry up! It was the boy in the uniform. Seven tossed Hongu a taunting salute and pulled the door closed. There was no point to going back to Seven's cell, so they continued down the duct in the other direction. After 30 feet or so, another duct met theirs heading down. They nodded at one another, then turned and slid down the duct.
Ich bin ganz am Überlegen, ob es besonders viel oder besonders wenig Sinn ergibt, dass diese Air-Ducts bei den Ofen
genau das habe ich auch gerade gedacht.
Türen haben, die es verschließen. Oder was dachtest du?
Naja, auch wie das dann funktionieren soll, weil das einfach in ein Zimmer führt, aber es wird ja vielleicht noch mehrere Wege haben, wobei er die ja dann hätte nehmen
was
können.
Was meinst du gerade?
Na, der Duct.
Ja, genau.
Dass der einfach direkt in ein Zimmer führt.
Ja, genau, also, ja, genau, und dann halt, dass das auf der einen Seite einfach eine Tür hat, die geschlossen ist normalerweise.
Das kann ich mir vorstellen.
Sinn dieses Luftschlag eigentlich, aber dann müsste den also irgendjemand immer aufmachen, nachdem das verbrannt wurde. Aber dann geht das halt genau ins Zimmer, die ganzen...
Genau, das ist das Komische daran. Ja. A short time later, they crawled out the duct to find themselves in a narrow hallway.
Es riecht nach verbranntem Kindern.
There was a door on each side of it. The one on the left was a normal double door. But the one on the right was a familiar thick metal door with black and yellow stripes and a device next to it on the wall. On the door was a plate that read Incinerator. Then that's where we were. Yeah, Hongu might still be in there. It looks like it's been shut off though. Wait, what? If he's still in there? Yeah, that's not good. Ugh, Seven grunted. Fine, the other door. Go into the other door, hurry. The children began to run, with Seven following close behind them. On the other side of the door was a large spiral staircase. Run, Seven shouted. They didn't even need to be told twice. Up and up and up they went. Their feet pounded against the steps and their arms churned the air. Round and round and round they went like a human tornado. Wie ein Gedicht hier. The stairway kept going. They had passed a couple of rooms that looked to be chance halls when the boy in the uniform spoke. Dance halls, meine ich natürlich. Something's up. Akane's not catching up to us. Akane? My kid sister. The girl with the red necktie. Akane? That was strange. Seven didn't remember seeing that name in the list of children who'd gone missing. Hey! Akane! He cupped his hands around his mouth and yelled. There was no response. Maybe we outran her. Suddenly the boy in the uniform stopped short. Seven stopped too, as did the boy in the jacket and the ponytailed girl. When did we do that? Well, we passed a couple of big rooms on the way here. Maybe she took a rest on one of them. No, that's impossible. Sorry, Grandpa, you keep going. I gotta go look for her downstairs. He turned to go. Hey, kid, wait! God damn it, I said wait! The boy didn't even seem to hear him. Fuck! 7 spun around and yelled to the boy in the jacket and the girl with the ponytail. I'm going after him. You two keep going, alright? You got it? The girl nodded and began to run up the stairs. The boy, however, I'm going with you. 7 didn't have time to argue. Instead, he simply nodded and took off down the stairs. The boy in the jacket followed. They ran all the way to the bottom floor, calling for her. Akane was nowhere to be found. God damn it, where the hell did she go? The boy in the uniform couldn't hide his frustration. Help me, somebody, help me! It was a girl's voice. Akane! The boy in the uniform threw open the door and leapt into the hallway that faced the incinerator. 7 and the boy in the jacket followed. 7 couldn't believe what he saw. Hongu had grabbed Akane by the arm and was doing his utmost to force her into the incinerator. Come on, goddammit, move! No, I don't want to, let me go. Please, let go of me. She had planted her feet squarely on the floor and was doing her best to get away, but Hongu was much larger than she was. She wasn't going to win. Akane! The boy in the uniform shouted. He roared with anger and charged toward Hongu. You came back? You're too late, idiot. Hongu lifted Akane bodily from her feet and threw her, struggling, into the incinerator. Ah! Before 7 or the boy in the uniform could react, Hongu leapt through the door after her. They saw him land inside. And then the door slammed shut, with the finality of a great steel guillotine. The 3 of them ran to the door. They pulled and strained, trying desperately to get it open. Grrrr! Fuck! It's no use, the goddamn thing won't move an inch.
So liest man aber nicht It's no use vor.
It's no use! Stimmt. Das hätte ich überlesen, oh Gott. Gut, dass ich dich neben mir habe.
Das ist wichtig.
The boy in the uniform cried out and
eigentlich Sonic!
and began to slam his fists against the door. He hit it with such force, 7 feared his knuckles would shatter from the impact. Akane! Akane! Are you okay? Help me! Her voice was muffled by the door, but the sheer terror in it was unmistakable. What should I do? I think I'm trapped in here. Where's Hongu? He went out the other door. What? Warning. Warning. Emergency incineration command has been acknowledged. Automatic incineration will take place in 18 minutes. Please evacuate the incinerator immediately. Repeat. Emergency incineration command has been acknowledged. Are you fucking kidding me? 7 was at a loss. It's the same damn thing. Are you there? Akane's voice sounded close to tears. Yeah, we're here. Just hang on, alright? We're gonna figure out a way to save you. If she could have seen the bloodless face of the boy in the uniform, his words would have seemed like little more than a sick joke.
Können die nicht zurück zum Raum rennen und dann wieder in den Erdach? Können davon ausgehen, dass da Wachen nichts vorstehen.
Ja. Automatic incineration will take place in 17 minutes. Please, please help me. I'm really, really scared. I don't want to die. Please. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. It's gonna be alright. I'll figure something out, I promise. I promise, okay? You hear me? I promise. They could hear her muffled sobs from the other side of the door. The boy in the uniform tightened his fists. His knuckles were the bloodless white. 7 could tell that he was holding back tears of his own.
That's a fucked up story.
It was silent. All they could hear was the creaking of the boat as it shifted in the water. They waited and waited, but 7 didn't continue.
What happened then?
Junpei couldn't wait any longer. He had to know. 7 looked at the floor.
Come on, man. Put yourself in my shoes. It doesn't end good. You think I wanna remember that? Then, yeah. Shit, if I'd known it was gonna be like this, I almost wish I hadn't remembered.
7 shook his head. But there was something Junpei had to know.
Hey, are you sure? Huh? Look, I don't wanna ask this either, but There's something I don't get. So if you could just tell me, did that girl Akane really?
Seven stared straight ahead at nothing.
Yeah, I'm sure. There wasn't anything we could do. After a while the countdown ended and we heard something burning. We